always less tough and never let us down. Peter never let San Diegans down. That's just who Peter was and who he always continue to be to all of us. One of the mejores padres, the best fathers, Peter believed in San Diego. He looked out for San Diegans. He invested in all of us, and he was not afraid to make sure that he held all of us accountable like all good leaders should. But above all, Peter renewed our faith and commitment to be champions in the game of baseball and victorious in the game of life. El cariño que él le tenía a esa comunidad y a este equipo era evidente en sus contribuciones a la región y a su dedicación a unirnos para buscar soluciones a los problemas que impactaban a la región, como solucionar el tema del gran número de personas sin viviendas. Como líder en esta comunidad, era un ejemplo a seguir. Peter pointed the way, and it's now on all of us to continue his legacy. To honor his legacy, we must continue to build on the work that he started in serving underserved communities and uplifting all voices. Today, we come together as a community and we celebrate Peter Siedler, knowing his love for family, for baseball, and for our common humanity. To Peter's amazing family, thank you. Thank you for sharing this incredible person with the community of San Diego. We appreciate it. He is imprinted in our hearts forever and inspired us to create a better community for all. Thank you. Que su legado viva entre todos nosotros. Que Dios lo bendiga a él y a su familia y que descanse en paz. May we all keep the faith. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Gloria and Chairwoman Vargas. If you knew Peter, one of the things that drove him every day was a determination to find solutions to help the homeless population in San Diego. Our next two speakers represent two important organizations that Peter worked very closely with. Co-founder of the Lucky Duck Foundation, Stephanie Kilkenny, and CEO of Alpha Project, Bob McElroy.
I'm Stephanie Kilkenny, and I'm honored to have been invited by Tom and Shield to speak here today. I only had the pleasure of knowing Peter for 7 years, but I think we really made those 7 years count. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to share our story. The first time I remember hearing Peter's name was not when it was announced that I had purchased the Padres. It was several years later when my husband Pat told me he was going to Petco Park to meet with Peter and their mutual friend Dan Shea to talk about the issue of homelessness. My husband has a lot of friends in the sports world, some more here, so the connection wasn't super shocking. He usually meets with them in Las Vegas over a blackjack table and a couple bottles of wine, so Peter's invitation was new. Who knew that that original trio would eventually grow to include so many others and become the Tuesday group that you've heard people mention here today? Peter referred to that group as a grubby band of volunteers. And they met every week and still continue to meet every week to continue the conversation regarding what the private sector and philanthropy can do to accelerate change in our community's approach to addressing homelessness. I'm just glad Dan Shea took the reins, or I'm afraid my husband would have moved those meetings to Nevada. While I remember hearing of Peter for the first time, I can't remember meeting him for the first time. Not because he wasn't important to me, but because he didn't act like he was more important than anyone else. He listened more than he talked, always gathering facts and using his wealth of knowledge to make everything he cared about best in class. I think that's partly why it was so memorable. The only time I ever heard him raise his voice. It's actually my favorite memory of Peter and how I picture him in my mind when I think of him. Arms stretched to the sky, hands balled in tight fists, yelling, "We slayed the dragon!" time he was joining the Lucky Duck Foundation Board of Directors. A marketing professional he knew had suggested that maybe our name didn't make much sense considering our mission to alleviate homelessness. Peter wanted to hear my thoughts. I don't think I said outright that my feelings were hurt, but the look on my face must have given me away. And because Peter was the consummate collaborator and true team player, and maybe because he liked the Lucky Duck logo a little bit as an Irishman, it was the last time he ever mentioned it. But just by initiating that conversation, he made change happen. We at the foundation started leaning into our Share Your Luck tagline, really encouraging people who feel they've been lucky to share it with those less fortunate. And in true Peter fashion, he led by example, with incredible compassion and generosity, starting with his family's first $2.5 million donation for the purchase of bridge shelters, so several hundred of our struggling neighbors could come in off the streets and begin their journey on a path to a brighter future. When I get frustrated by what sometimes feels like one step forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, our approach to reducing homelessness, I often think of Peter and his midnight walks around town, really connecting with people living on the streets. And then I remember the Buddha quote in Peter's email signature. One moment can change a day. One day can change a life. And one life can change the world. Peter changed the world. And although he's no longer here to lead us, we can all continue trying to do the same, one moment at a time. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheila, much love to you and your family. Beautiful family. Josie and Tommy, much love to all the sides of the family. Eric and Eric, the entire Padres family, much love and respect. Thank you all for being here to celebrate the incredible life of my dear friend, Peter Siedler. I first met Peter during the 2017 deadly Hep A outbreak here in San Diego. We had just set up an emergency campground at 20th and B to provide safety and services to those experiencing homelessness. An emergency meeting was scheduled with prominent business people, philanthropists, stakeholders, and Mayor Faulkner to brainstorm ideas on how we could provide those facilities and services in the shortest amount of time. I knew most of the folks in attendance. It was my first opportunity to meet Peter up close and personal. I was immediately impressed with his attire. Jeans, sweatshirt, beanie, my kind of guy straight up. Very successful businessman, owner of the Padres, he dresses just like me. Soon after we met again at his ballpark office, there he was, sweatshirt, beanie, baseball in hand. I knew this guy was something special right from the get-go. We had a long conversation about the state of homelessness in San Diego and across the nation. We discussed politics, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I asked him, why do you care so much about homeless folks? He said, why wouldn't I? You can tell from my blank stare, I was kind of waiting for an answer. He said, Bob, everyone has value. Everyone matters. My goal is to make them believe it. I'm thinking, hallelujah, brother, we're preaching from the same playbook. This guy's the real deal for sure. Peter asked what could be done in the shortest amount of time to provide a best-in-class facility to get as many folks as possible in the shelter and to give them the best opportunity to succeed. I said sprung structures were the most cost-effective, quickest way to get folks shelter. Immediately, Peter did his thing. He brought in his troops. Dan Shea, Pat Kilkenny, Tommy Sudbury, and many more like-minded movers and shakers that raised the funding to purchase 2 structures.
A few months later, Alpha Project in Veteran Village, moving 470 folks into the new facilities. Just like that, nearly 500 people could begin their road to recovery. The ball is rolling and continues to this day. Peter's boundless optimism, passion, and leadership ushered a new era of homeless services in San Diego. Finally, we had